Hello first graders and welcome to another English video lesson. We are discussing the topic of education, different school-related topics, which I hope you find interesting. Today we will be talking about learning disorders. My name is Irena Pavlović and I will take you through today's lesson. The outcomes for today are written here. We have two, for you to describe a learning difficulty or learning disorder, and for you to correct some common misconceptions related to learning difficulties. Before we start, make sure that you have everything you might need at hand. Your notebook or a piece of paper, so something to write on, and of course something to write with. You will also need a device with internet access. From time to time, I will instruct you to pause the video and do the task. But you can always do it on your own or replay any part that you find necessary. So, let's start. As I have already said, our topic today is learning disorders. Have a look at the word cloud. Can you recognize any of the words? Do you know what they mean? Have you heard them before? If yes, where? So, which ideas come to mind when you hear them? Pause the video, think about it for a minute, and write down what you think. When talking about this topic, there are several words that come to mind and several words that you might hear when discussing it. The word disorder, disability, and the word difficulty. So, people talk about learning disorders, learning disabilities, and learning difficulties. What is the difference in meaning? How do these words make you feel? Check their meaning in the dictionary and see what are different aspects of meaning that you can think of. And what about this word, diversity? Do you think this belongs into this category? Think about it as well. Now, let's have a look at these three words. Lexia, calculia, and graphia. Do you recognize them? Have you seen them somewhere before? And what about this one, a prefix, this? All of these words have Greek origin and Latin origin, and you can probably guess their meaning by analyzing the meaning of word parts. Prefix this comes from Greek and refers to something hard, difficult, or bad. Lexia has something to do with words, so it's usually connected with speaking or with reading. Calculia has something to do with numbers and mathematical operations, and graphia has something to do with writing. Obviously, these three words refer to certain problems with things we usually do at school. Read, write, and calculate. So, we are going to talk about learning difficulties, and we will discuss one of them into more details. We'll discuss dyslexia. You're going to watch a video, but before watching it, let's see. Do you know anyone who has dyslexia? If you do, are you familiar with the difficulties they experience? Have you heard of any famous people with dyslexia? And if you have, can you tell how dyslexia influenced their lives? These are some of the things for you to think about before we see the video. So, in order to watch the video, you need to open this link. But you're not going to watch the entire video at the same time. First, you're just going to watch the first 40 seconds of it. At the beginning of the video, there is a text you should read. Pause the video and read it. Measure the time. Write down how much time it takes you to read it and what you understand from it. And then you will see the same text again. One more time, pause the video and read it. Check the time and write down how much it took you to read this part and what you understand from it. Let's do it. So, let's see. How much time did it take you to read the first text? How much did you understand? And what can you conclude based on that? Don't continue watching the video without thinking about what has just happened. Now you can continue watching the rest of the video. While watching it, and here is the link once again, try to find the answers to the following questions. What is the difference between the way how people with dyslexia see the words and how people without it see them? How many people have dyslexia? What kind of symptoms do they have? What does neurodiversity say? What message do stories of famous people send? And how can people with dyslexia be helped? Write your answers down. Remember, you can always pause or replay the video. To make sure you have all the information you need, there is a short text about dyslexia which you can find if you open the link. Open the task and complete it with the missing sentences. You can always download the worksheet for future reference. Now, pause the video and do the task. You will learn a lot about dyslexia, watching the video and reading the text. And I'm sure you have a pretty good idea what it is now and how it affects one's life. But how would you explain it into your own words? Imagine your grandparents ask you what dyslexia is. You have mentioned the word, but they have never heard it before, and they want you to explain it to them. Prepare a 3-minute talk about dyslexia. Don't use any technical terms. Make it as simple as possible so that everybody can understand. Record an audio and post it online. Here is the link for the Flipgrid which you can use. Pause the video and do the task. As you probably already know, people with learning difficulties often come across a number of problems because others don't know enough about the problems they face. Based on the things you learned today, what would you say when faced with these common misconceptions about learning difficulties? For example, you hear someone saying, "You just need practice reading. If you read hundreds of pages, you won't have dyslexia anymore." Or, to a person with dyscalculia, they may ask, "What do you mean? You have problems with math. You're an excellent student and you excel in languages." Or, if you hear someone saying, "Forget about the things you are good at. Focus on your problems and work them out." Think about it, pause the video and write your answers down. And now it is time to reflect on today's lesson. Think about everything you've seen and read and write down the following things. 3 things you learned about learning difficulties today. 2 things about learning difficulties that surprised you. And 1 thing about learning difficulties you would like to hear more about. This activity will help you to put things into perspective and to synthesize everything you have learned today. This is the end of our lesson today, the lesson about learning difficulties. I hope you found it informative and eye-opening, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your day and see you again soon. Bye-bye.